Blake Lively just destroyed her own case against Justin Baldoni, and I have the proof that I'm about to show you. So the footage everyone's been talking about, it actually shows she lied. The evidence she swore was true, completely made up. And now, everything is falling apart for her. This is another high-profile case that actually made me interested to cover it, because this is Blake Lively becoming the next Amber Heard right before our eyes.
Look, I know why you're here. You've seen Blake Lively all over your feed. She's suing Justin Baldoni. Ryan Reynolds is standing by her side, and she's even hired one of the most powerful lawyers in America. Everything points to her winning this case, right? Wrong.
I feel like maybe Blake smelled his kindness, mistook it for weakness, and tried to take advantage and take power, so yeah.
So you believe Blake Lively wrestled control of the film?
I think she tried to, yes.
Did she succeed in the end?
Probably, yeah. I think that there was a massive compromise in terms of Justin's original vision for the film.
Okay, before we dive into how Blake destroyed her own case, you need to understand how this whole mess started. Don't worry, I'll keep it short, since most of you already know the basics. Back in 2023, Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni were filming a movie called It Ends With Us. They had creative differences. That happens on movie sets all the time, right? But Blake didn't leave it at that. She took it to a whole other level.
One of the key allegations in her complaint against Justin Baldoni was as follows, okay, from paragraph 48 of her complaint. She writes, on another occasion, Mr. Baldoni and Ms. Lively were filming a slow dance scene for a montage in which no sound was recorded. Mr. Baldoni chose to let the camera roll and have them perform the scene, but did not act in character as Ryle. Instead, he spoke to Ms. Lively out of character as himself. At one point, he leaned forward and slowly dragged his lips from her ear and down her neck as he said, "It smells so good." None of this was remotely in character or based on any dialogue in the script, and nothing needed to be said because, again, there was no sound. Mr. Baldoni was caressing Ms. Lively with his mouth in a way that had nothing to do with their roles. When Ms. Lively later objected to this behavior, Mr. Baldoni's response was, "I'm not even attracted to you."
Blake accused Justin Baldoni of sexual harassment, claiming he made inappropriate remarks, unwanted advances, and intimidated her on set. She also alleged that Baldoni and his PR team orchestrated a smear campaign to ruin her reputation. Taking it further, Blake filed a formal complaint with the California Civil Rights Department and a federal lawsuit against Baldoni and Wayfarer Studios for sexual harassment and retaliation.
Now to the legal war between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. She's asking for over $160 million in damages.
Who and what we stand up for matters.
In newly unsealed documents, Blake claims Justin's alleged smear campaign cost her more than $56 million in lost work opportunities, $49 million in endorsements from her beauty brand, $22 million from her beverage companies. Justin's denied Blake's smear campaign claims.
But Justin Baldoni wasn't going to just sit back. He fired back hard.
Justin Baldoni, he has fought back yet again. He filed a lawsuit against the New York Times, which we had Brian Friedman on to discuss, saying it had done a defamatory report on Blake Lively's claims that she was allegedly harassed by this guy when they shot the movie It Ends With Us, a film about domestic violence. In that claim, they said the Times distorted the truth. They did not report text messages which were full and complete, which showed a very different meaning than the snippets that Blake Lively put in her complaint, and that what in fact happened was Justin didn't harass Blake. Blake was interested in wresting control of this movie away from Justin, who was the director and the producer. She was just an actress in it, and used threats and coercion and bullying to do it. And to the point where this guy was in the basement at his own movie's premiere. Now Brian Friedman has filed on behalf of Justin a lawsuit directly against Blake, Ryan Reynolds, and Leslie Sloan, their PR hack. And they're alleging not only did our PR team not hurt Blake or generate a campaign against Blake or do anything to hurt Blake in last August when she came under negative press. That was organic because of her own bad behavior. But you guys were the ones out there generating negative press against Justin. You bullies were the ones who were trying to ruin Justin so you could have your way on all the scenes and all the wardrobe and all the control, and you could feel like the producer and the director when you weren't.
Baldoni filed a $400 million countersuit. Yes, for $100 million. Against Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and their publicist for civil extortion and defamation. He claimed they tried to take over the film and destroy his career. Up until then, most thought Blake had the upper hand with her civil rights complaint, Ryan's support, and her fame and resources. Then, in October 2025, everything changed.
Breaking news, a federal judge in New York dismisses Justin Baldoni's lawsuit against Blake Lively now. It ends with Us director and star filed that $400 million lawsuit against Lively, her husband Ryan Reynolds, and their publicist, alleging extortion and defamation. Lively's attorneys just said in a statement, today's opinion is a total victory and a complete vindication for Blake Lively, along with those that Justin Baldoni and the Wayfarer parties dragged into their retaliatory lawsuit, including Ryan Reynolds.
Judge Louis Lyman dismissed Baldoni's $400 million countersuit and his $250 million lawsuit against the New York Times. On paper, it looked like a win for Blake, but legally, she didn't. The dismissal was only because you can't countersue someone who's filed a civil rights complaint. The case is still ongoing, yet Blake acted like she'd already won.
Blake's red carpet moment at a Tribeca Festival dinner felt like a full-on victory lap. As a source today tells ET, she's feeling relieved, and husband Ryan is proud that she stood her ground.
Blake showed up at the Tribeca Festival dinner beaming, posing for cameras like she'd won the case of the century. Ryan Reynolds stood proudly by her side, supportive as ever.
Blake Lively's euphoria is a little premature, and I guess I should tell you what she's saying. She's thrilled. You won't be surprised to hear. She's absolutely thrilled. I'm going to show you a video as she arrived Monday night at the Tribeca Festival. It's the artist's dinner. This is Monday. Here she is. Let's watch it. She's all smiles. She's clearly in a great mood. I mean, she's acting like she won the case in chief against him. She didn't. And nor did the judge find that Justin's allegations are untrue. The judge just said, basically, you can't sue her for allegations she makes in a complaint she filed with the Civil Rights Department. You can't sue her for defamation for that. It's covered by a privilege. He didn't say what she said was true. He didn't say Justin's likely to lose this case at trial, like the case against him. But she's acting like the judge did, and it's a lie. She comes out, this is per BuzzFeed, on her Instagram story. She referenced the 19 organizations that wrote amicus briefs in support of her, Friends of the Court. She began last week, I stood proudly alongside 19 organizations united in defending women's rights to speak up for their safety. Like so many others, I've felt the pain of a retaliatory lawsuit, including the manufactured shame that tries to break us. While the suit against me was defeated, so many don't have the resources to fight back. Okay, she's got $1 billion. Give me a break. I mean, like, it's absurd that any court would even consider making her pay Baldoni's legal fees, but he does not have $1 billion. Ryan Reynolds made that off of the sale of his liquor company, reportedly, never mind what they've earned as actors. I'm more resolved than ever to continue to stand for every woman's right to have a voice in protecting themselves, including their safety, their integrity, their dignity, and their story.
Blake posted on social media, thanking everyone and acting like she'd already won, even before the trial started. But a countersuit dismissal doesn't prove her claims, just that the legal process has rules. Acting like she'd won was a huge mistake. Then TMZ got hold of the actual footage from the set, and things got interesting.
Well, guess what? TMZ has gotten its hands on that video, and you can hear Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni interacting as themselves, knowing that this is all on video and that this is going to be used to create this dance scene, and no such moment is shown. Just watch it. Watch it.
Oh my gosh, we don't stop.
And Emily and I had like...
Right, and then says, smells good, and she says, it's my body makeup. That's her big harassment moment. They are playfully acting for the camera, trying to make it look like two lovers, two people in a relationship, are dancing with one another.
And the video shows nothing, absolutely nothing inappropriate happened. The public immediately questioned Blake's story. If she lied here, what else is false? Even Baldoni's lawyer stepped in with a statement.
I have absolutely no feelings about this guy, Justin Baldoni. In fact, to be perfectly honest, I reviewed some of his social media, and he seems kind of ridiculous with his toxic masculinity, lamentations, and so on. But that's fine. That's me. So I'm not on his side. But my point is simply, I just don't see it. In their incendiary complaint, where they're trying to do their best to bash him and the PR team. I don't see the second loop closed of, and then here's where they did it. It's just all supposition. They don't have these great texts saying, look what I got placed in the New York Post.
Baldoni's lawyer confirmed he never intended to hurt Blake or ruin her career. He was just defending himself. After the footage, the public stopped buying Blake's story. It gets worse. One of her most serious claims involved a movie scene with a gynecological exam, supposedly the most disturbing part of her story.
Remember she said that they made her perform the birth scene with like a slit covering up her lady parts, and then he brought on his best friend to play the doctor and let him linger down there below where he could check her out from a gynecological perspective. And then that actor came forward to say, this is such a lie. That's not true. She had on biker shorts the entire time. And by the way, I'm not just his buddy. I've been in all sorts of like Shakespearean productions and other big productions, and I'm insulted at their description of me just coming over as like an ogling buddy of Justin's. F off. Just yet another one of her obvious lies.
Blake claimed that during the scene she wore only a slit covering and that Baldoni's best friend, playing the doctor, could see everything, making her feel fully exposed. It was a serious allegation. But then the actor came forward and completely destroyed her story.
This is how Brian Friedman and Justin Baldoni are going to win this case. You don't have to take all 20 of her allegations. Pick your top 4, right? And show. You don't have to take Baldoni's word on the birth scene. Listen to Adam Monshine, who is telling you he was there. And by the way, here are the raw film outtakes from the whole thing, where you can see she is wearing black shorts. She does not have just a thin piece of fabric separating her genitalia from everybody there. And let's sit and listen to her alleged multiple requests for a cover, which everyone blew her. I bet it's not going to be.
The actor revealed Blake was wearing full biker shorts, completely covered, contradicting her claim of being exposed. This slip undermines her credibility and casts doubt on everything else she said. She had to know witnesses were on set, so why lie? With the TMZ footage and the false birth scene story, her case is already falling apart, and she's about to make another huge mistake.
Blake Lively is making a strategic legal move as her courtroom battle with Justin Baldoni inches closer. Blake Lively has brought on powerhouse attorney Sigrid McCauley, best known for representing Jeffrey Epstein's victims, ahead of her highly anticipated trial against Justin Baldoni. According to People, McCauley will focus on public and media communications tied to the case, joining Lively's existing legal team as they prepare for proceedings in New York. In a statement, McCauley said the case centers on a woman standing up against a hostile work environment, while Lively's attorneys praised her experience, quote, speaking truth to power.
In January 2026, Blake hired Sigrid McCauley, the high-profile attorney who represented Epstein's victims, but not for court. She's handling crisis PR, managing Blake's public image. The twist? Blake previously accused Baldoni of hiring a PR team to run a smear campaign. Now she's doing the same, making her look hypocritical. On top of that, her friendship with Taylor Swift, once a PR boost, might now backfire.
What's happening, to the extent you can tell us, with Taylor Swift? Because there was some reporting that you wanted to get the text messages between Blake Lively and Taylor, and that there was a potential for subpoenaing Taylor Swift, in this case via document subpoena to get her texts and possibly even a deposition. And then that her father allegedly came to you and said, I will tell you what's in the text. And the reason I'll tell you is because Blake Lively's threatening my daughter, Taylor Swift, that if she doesn't speak out on Blake Lively's behalf, that Blake Lively's going to retaliate in some way. So tell us what you can.
Sure. Just out of respect for, people that aren't parties to the lawsuit, there's not a whole lot that I can get into. But I think that people who are relevant to the case and people who, have otherwise been with people from the beginning of the case, side by side, shoulder by shoulder, are potentially witnesses in the case. And so, those are things that we need to look into. Those are things to see, what, in addition to what we know already, we need, and then to move forward and obtain that discovery. There's a short leash on how far we can go with discovery. I think the judge has made it very clear that, third parties need to be directly relevant to claims. And we think certain third parties are directly relevant, but it's just whether or not you need that evidence in addition to what you have already.
Rumors say Taylor Swift's dad might hand over private messages between her and Blake to Baldoni's team. Allegedly, Blake threatened Taylor to publicly support her or risk having 10 years of messages leaked, and even asked her to delete some. Whether true or not, these rumors seriously damage Blake's case.
Music superstar Taylor Swift says she won't be deposed in the ongoing legal battle between actress Blake Lively and actor Justin Baldoni. The judge in the case ruled Baldoni's attorneys waited too late in the proceedings to file an extension requesting Swift be deposed. Lively and Swift are friends. Lively is suing Baldoni over claims of sexual harassment and retaliation.
Taylor Swift has made it clear she won't be deposed or give testimony. If Blake were truly the victim, wouldn't her best friend help? Her silence speaks volumes. If those messages are ever released, it could show Blake trying to pressure one of the world's biggest stars, destroying any remaining public sympathy. Here's the timeline moving forward.
The ongoing civil trial between film stars Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni has been postponed by 2 months. Originally set for March, a New York judge is changing the trial date to May 18th. Sources say the decision was made to accommodate other criminal cases on the docket.
Blake's full civil trial for sexual harassment and retaliation is set for May 18, 2026, in the Southern District of New York. Originally scheduled for March, it was postponed for other cases, but it's possible the trial might never even happen.
Today we're looking at Blake Lively's January 22nd hearing in the Southern District of New York, where Justin Baldoni is asking the court to dispose of her claims on summary judgment without a jury trial. Procedurally, Lively has active claims alleging a hostile work environment, retaliation, and reputational harm arising from the It Ends With Us production and Fallout. Baldoni and Wayfair, Baldoni's company, deny liability and have now moved for summary judgment on her remaining causes of action.
On January 22, 2026, Baldoni has a hearing for a motion for summary judgment, which could end Blake's case before it reaches a jury. With the birth scene lie, TMZ footage, and crisis PR hypocrisy, Baldoni's team has plenty of ammunition. Blake's own reputation, contradicting evidence, and questionable actions make her look guilty. The question is, are her lies finally catching up to her, or can she still turn this around?